I'm just not saying this. We got 5 people on here. Y'all weren't playing when y'all said y'all were going to come back and see me. Alright, so what I'm doing now is same thing I was doing earlier. Taking some of the templates that people ordered Affinity templates for during the sale and converting those over from Photoshop templates to Affinity templates, and editable ones at that, of course. What I'm having to do is just basically retype all this stuff, which is not that much fun. And unfortunately, I have to remember all the fonts, so I'm going to do my best to keep this pretty much straightforward. And then if I have any photos, I might go ahead and switch it out. That way I can just show you how you would edit this template. The other thing is I may do that on a shorter tutorial that's for the template, because I like to show the Affinity users how they would edit a template versus the Photoshop users. So we have a couple here that we're going to be changing. And I think I'm going to have to open my Photoshop version of the template just so that I can recognize my fonts. So that might get a little tricky with Photoshop and Affinity open. So y'all let me know if the connection gets really bad or the live stream stops. So while that Photoshop file is loading up, because we're basically going to do the text, we're going to get into the greater part of this graphic, which is really the foreground, which is the photo. Then we have a background, which is like a heaven image, and we have some wings here too. Just clean that up a little bit. So these are, let me see if I needed to do that or no. So we can take those out. So there are 2 different templates. One of them has the wings full body and it says forever in our hearts. The other one has your wings were ready, our hearts were not. And basically you can interchange some of the elements in here too. So I want to make sure we keep our halo. We're going to clean up this mask here for sure. So as you can see, I have the full wings here, but this mask is created here so that we don't end up with a sharply cut off edge of our graphic. We have a nice soft lead off into the edge of the paper and onto the shirt. One way that you can check that is go ahead and put you a new pixel layer and fill it with, let's fill it with magenta. I like to choose a bright color, an odd color that you don't typically have in your design. And then that way I can tell if I'm just getting really bad edges and I need to shift something. And that, I have 2 options for a background here just so you can see. You have option 1 and option 2, and I'm about to clean up this mask layer here. And there's got to be something that's not, that's what we're only on about 75 opacity. Let's go ahead and turn my mask on. And while I have this layer mask on, I'm going to go ahead and clean up these edges because I see stuff getting out here that I did not see in Photoshop. So let me clean it up. I got my paintbrush selected and I want to make sure that I'm on the mask layer And you want to make sure that you choose black, 100% black, so it's going to be all zeros for your hex. And then what I'm doing is just brushing across the edges. And let me change my flow to 100 because I want it to completely knock out whatever I'm trying to do right now. So my hardness and my opacity are both at, not my hardness, I'm sorry, my flow and my opacity are both at on 100. And then it looks like this mask, I want to come down a little further here. So now I'm going to flip my colors, turn on my white. And duh, I just painted on my pixel layer. I want to paint on my mask layer. And then I want to bring my sky image. I want to see more of it, so I'm going to make sure that my mask isn't cutting that off. So grabbing my brush again. Let me see what's cutting me off here. Okay, so I have two different masks on right now. I'm going to take this mask off because it is a little just not as clean as I would want it to be. And I'm going to drop. That's what's being cut off right now. And what I can do is I can take the cloud background and then I can set it to where instead of having two masks, I'm going to clean this up and then just let the cloud background mask this one for right now. Get rid of that mask. And right now I'm just paying attention to whether I want the clouds or the gates to kind of be the focal image and change how it blends with the layer underneath it. So my clouds on top, clouds on bottom. I think I am going to do the clouds on the bottom and then change that opacity to 100%. And then let's do normal as a blend mode. Okay, cool. And then what we'll do is we'll take the gates, because I like the pearly gates, and I'm going to do let's do a layer mask just to that. I think I did it twice. Okay. Now let's grab our paintbrush. And we got a big soft brush selected here. So all I'm going to do is make sure I have black selected. I'm on my layer mask. And black is going to conceal. And all I'm doing is removing some of this background image so that it looks like a decent fade off. And I can also play with my opacity and my flow if I don't want it to come off so clean. I want to build on the amount that comes out here. I think that works out well. And then finally for the sky background, let's see how big of a background we have here. I really like how the sunshine, the sun rays just kind of pop up behind her. So I do want to keep that. But I also know that if I make it focal and I fade off everything else, all I will see is that white. And it looks like I need to fade off these posts just a little bit more because I see that hard line there. And you know how I feel about that. Bring the gates up just a little bit so we can see more of it. Now I want to take a little less off every time I click, so I'm going to bring the brush size down a little bit. That way I can focus on how much I'm really removing. Alright, so I'm happy with that. But let's play with the sky now. Let's do a layer mask here. And this time I'm going to do a gradient instead of the brush because I want to keep a consistent kind of square edge but fade it off, if that makes sense. So let's do our gradient, and we're on the mask layer. Make sure of that. And then I'm going to start on the inside meat of the clouds. Inside meat, I'm holding down shift, dragging it down. Sorry guys, I was around some smoke earlier and my brother thinks it's all in my head, but it really does affect me, and now my throat feels terrible. At least it wasn't his smoke this time, so he can rest assured it's not just his smoke I'm allergic to. Alright, so now what we're going to do is change our gradient. We are going to go from a black, because black is going to conceal, so let's choose black as our start color. And then instead of, it really doesn't matter, we're going to choose white, but I think what I'm going to do is fade it to transparent. Right now it's on gray, and we definitely want to, let's make it white. But at this particular level, I want to change the opacity instead of 100%. No, that's for the layer. Where's my opacity for this node? And I hold down my shift key to lock it to be exactly vertical. Otherwise, it'll give me some kind of funky angle. Right now, I'm looking for I guess that's it. Let me see if I can fade it again from here to, nope, that's why I needed the transparency here. Because if I don't have the transparency, every time I do my fade, it's going to assume that that I'm starting a new gradient, and I want to actually build on this particular gradient. So let's do this stop is at 100%. I need it to be just for that one stop. There we go. Okay, so on the white stop, that's the one where I want to change the opacity. And then what I have to do is on the black stop, it's in the appropriate place. Let me add a new stop, and that one is going to be white. So it'll bring that color in. I'm not liking this in this program. There's got to be another way where usually in Photoshop, if I fade it to transparent, then I can keep adding and adding and adding mask to it without overriding the last mask that I made. So since I can't do what I want to do, let me just go ahead and do a new layer mask. And we'll just do the paintbrush. It's not what I want to do, but we shall do it. Now the other thing is, the reason why I don't like to play with this mask too much, because if I resize it with the mask on it and I still have some extra image on this outside meat, if I ever go to shrink my background clouds, and let me show you that. You see how it's extended all the way out here? Basically I end up in trouble if I clean up the edges, and I got black selected here. I'm on my layer mask. So say I clean up the edges here. And I'm just, you know, using my paintbrush to stroke here. Let me give myself 100% flow and 100% opacity. That way I am sure that at these edges I don't have any image that's going to get cut off by my printer. And that faded that off just fine, but to me I would have preferred to use the gradient tool and have my clean even edge all the way around, but I don't know how to do that in Affinity just yet. When I find out, I will let you know. Alright, so I'm missing, you know what, I think I deleted her back wings. Dang, did I do that? I sure did. I deleted the back wings. And that's why this looks a little awkward, because oh, it just masked it off, so I should be able, no, it's, these are the front wings. Dagnabbit. Alright, so what we're gonna do, let me grab the back wings from this one. Hopefully I didn't delete them off of here. Front wings, wings. Let's see. Oh, so I can't just drag it over like I do in Photoshop. Of course not. I thought I could. Let me see if I pull the image down here. I really thought I was going to be able to get away with dragging from one. Man. I guess that doesn't work in Affinity. In Photoshop I can drag elements from one file to another. I just got a little too happy with that one. Trying to see how I can bring it from one file to another without going back and reverting this one. How about this? Save as. Put a 2 at the end. And y'all can see my little Affinity library is growing. Pretty soon, every time I do a Photoshop one, I should just about have an Affinity one. I want my back wings backed, so I'm gonna open recent and choose my original Affinity photo. Alright, let's see. You know, it was really silly I did all that, and I still don't know how I'm going to get the back wings in there. This one, let's see if I can. Come on, let me drag the layer. Let me see if there's a way to export. Whole document, selection without background. So I'm going to see if it'll let me export just the back wings. We shall see. I'm just going to call this back wings. And then that way in our new file, let's place back wings. Would you look at there? Now it kind of cut things off. I thought it was going to preserve all of the transparency and everything, but it didn't. It looks like it's the same size though. So basically all I was looking for was this piece here, because that's what kind of cleans up and makes it look continuous, and I didn't like that I didn't have that. Yeah, I'm kind of particular. Alright, so those are our back wings. We have our front wings in place. Technically, do I want to disable? Front wings look good. I can make them and like cover her a little bit better by taking the front wings and placing them in front of the photo. Placing the back wings behind the photo. And now you can see it looks like it kind of envelops her. And this is good when you have photos that have like the shoulders cut off. You just take those wings and wrap them right around those shoulders. So I think we're going to keep her there. Front wings, back wings, photo in the middle. And then we had the entire thing kind of faded off too. So I'm going to get rid of this mask so we can come up with a new clean mask. And again, I'm just sweeping. Gotta make sure my back wings are in here. There we go. That way, when I'm cleaning up my mask, my front wings and my back wings. What's going on? I'm painting on a pixel layer instead of painting on my mask. And that's what happens. So I'm kind of making my wings pop out a little bit further than my background. And that's intentional. So now when I turn off this pink background layer, turn on my white background layer, I get a chance to see what it looks like printed. And I feel like I have something on here shadowing really bad. Not that. Okay, so I think that works. And then we have, let me take the back wings and clean that up a little bit. Then we throw our text back on top. Of course, Photoshop didn't open up the file. Okay, I'm just checking y'all's comments while I was waiting on Photoshop to pull up this image. Let's see. In loving memory. I think this one is the one. I'm just trying to really open up Photoshop just so I understand what my fonts and what my techniques are, because sometimes it looks like it translated my gradients and my shadows, but when I look at my original Photoshop version, it's a lot different. So I'm just making sure I maintain that. Okay. So now looks like your wings is master of break. So what I'm going to do is, instead of the frame text, I'm going to go to artistic text, and honestly, before I even did that, I'm going to go ahead and change my font to what I want it to be. So master of break. Your wings. And of course, this is not the fun part, the repetitious part, but it's necessary. Anytime I create a Photoshop template, it's not doing right with my text. So unfortunately, I'm having to pretty much remake them, which I thought wouldn't be that hard, but it's definitely more work than I thought. Okay, what I'm trying to do is get on your wings. I'm going to drop it down in this. And that just made a clipping mask, which I didn't intend to do, but it's cool to know that's how easy it is to create a clipping mask. For those of you, oh, that's another short tutorial. So if you all can remind me of the short tutorials that we're coming up with, one of them is clipping images into a shape. So that shape could be text, it could be a silhouette, or you could be taking one image and cropping it or clipping it to a whole nother image. So y'all remind me to make a short tutorial for Photoshop and for Affinity of how to do a clipping mask. I think that'll be helpful for you. Okay, so that one. Now it looks like it did preserve my effects here, so I'm going to see if I can add this style from the selection and apply that layer style. That worked. So now I have an editable layer, so the person who gets this Affinity file will be able to retype there. the word ready, I'm going to have to do the same thing there. Let me find out what text that is. That one is Loose Sans Black. So let's select the font first. LUZ Sans, oh, book. I thought it said black. My bad. And I like this concept of this artistic text tool, so you can preview the font size. And of course I'm gonna do caps lock here. We're ready. And it looks like I squished this text a little bit to get it right. I hold down the shift key if I want to change it proportionally, and then I let go of the shift key if I want to squish it disproportionately. Okay, so I'm going to copy. I can't copy the layer style. In Photoshop, you'll right click, copy the layer style, then you'll paste the layer style. I can't do that here, so I'm going to add the style from the selection, and then I'm going to go to Word Ready and paste layer style in Photoshop, but you're just going to apply the style here, and that looks good. Delete the pixel layer of Word Ready, and instead of doing our hearts were not all over again, I'm just going to retype that. So your wings were ready. I held down control to select both of those layers. Now I'm going to hold down Alt to drag those. I'm holding down Shift so that it pulls it down and it doesn't allow it to shift left to right. And then I'm going to take these while they're still highlighted, and I'm going to drop them into the top group. Not what I wanted to do. I'm still trying to figure out when this thing is dropping it inside of something and underneath it or above it. So I saw the blue bar looked more like it was on the same level. Alright, so I don't even have to copy and paste the R hearts, and then we're not. I'm just going to retype it. And I gotta turn off caps lock, our hearts. I'm gonna add extra space there too. We're not. Now I need caps lock. Okay. And of course, I'm just shifting that text up just a little bit. And then this text here is, I'm pretty sure it's still the master break, but I'm still going to add the style from selection because it's not exactly like anything I already have made. So I'll go ahead and select master of break, get my text tool here, do a paste, And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the pixel layer so I can see if it applies the right layer style here, and looks good to me. Did I apply that on this word not? When did I do this? I must have changed the font. That's what I did. I didn't even recognize I did that. Sorry for the confusion, guys. Alright, so we have background done, cleaned up. Foreground is done and cleaned up. We still have our halo. I don't think the dates are editable yet. So I'm just gonna copy that. I'm pretty sure that that text is the baby is new. So I'm gonna click here, turn this to baby is new. Control V to paste. And I thought that it would get more of my image here. But maybe I didn't copy and paste the whole thing. I don't think I did. So it didn't, sunrise, sunset did not get the entire thing, just the beginning. So we'll just go ahead and retype that. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer so we won't be confused. I don't want anything on here that's not editable. Okay. I think that's it. I think I have a template for Affinity. Hallelujah. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure everything that I see is editable. I'm just making sure it was an acceptable amount of fade off and nothing harsh or had me looking crazy. And I think that's it for this one anyhow. All right. So let me go ahead and save that one. And get rid of this one. And what's so funny is I have to do the same thing to this one. By changing up the text and everything, but this one has a red look to it and it has, instead of the close-up image with the wings, this one has the full body with the wings. So I'll probably finish that one up in the morning. I will see anybody that's on here right now. Did anyone have a remembrance image that they want me to showcase, like showing in this, this template or the other template? Because if so, you can try to drop it in my Google Drive box and just let me know that it's a remembrance shirt design. Because when I do this video for Affinity, I will substitute an image just to showcase how it works. So if I choose your image, then I can basically go ahead and do the template for you, and you'll have that for the future. If at the very least, if you comment, I think you can still add comments to the event post for tonight that we said we were doing a live session. If you comment underneath that post with a photo, I can at least pull it from there, download it, and whatever resolution it is, it's just what it is. But I want to have the Google Drive folder so that you all can send me high resolution images when you have a chance. Alrighty, my loves. Well, I see it's still 8 of you hanging in there, yawning with me, and I sure appreciate you, and I love you for that. But I think we're going to go ahead and call this one a night. But definitely I will be working on, I have some remembrance shirt designs to update in Affinity, and I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll probably do these live just to show you what goes into them. Even though it looks like my design is already done and I'm just cleaning it up, I still have to do stuff. So it's still teaching you what you'll be doing as well. And then once I make the little quick videos of how to edit the 10-minute templates, that's when I usually switch out and put you guys' pictures in there. So that's when you get your surprise of whether you got chosen to do that. Of course, I appreciate you all staying up with me, because Lord knows if y'all didn't stay up with me, I probably wouldn't have got that little template done tonight. I would have took it to the bed. All right, good night, everyone. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.